Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yuri Folani. And well, first of all, my guests this morning, two of them actually. Our first guest is Dr. Tony Ofeyetan. He's a lawyer and Director General, International Institute of Professional Security. As always, Tony, thank you very much for making it.
Good morning,
Indeed.
Yuri.
Good morning,
sir. Good morning, Nigerians.
Indeed. And we also will be, connecting remotely with Group Captain Sadeeq Garba, Shehu, retired, private security and defense consultant nowadays, but former deputy head of security at Africa Union Commission in Ethiopia. And the reason we have these two security experts, of course, the 12, jets, the fighter jets that we ordered. Well, you also know that Thursday, 6 of them were delivered. So we got 6 of these light attack aircraft, A-29 Super Tucano, they call them. And according to the website of their manufacturers, these are specially useful, quote, for fighting in permissive environments, including insurgencies. So it seems to me that this is going to make a great difference in the theater, shall we say, in the Northeast, Tony, because although in other areas as well, but especially in the Northeast, these as soon as we can get hold of the group captain, him being an Air Force, a former Air Force officer, he probably have a sense of this new generation light attack aircraft. But the injection of this number of light attack fighter aircrafts is going to make a big difference, do you think, would you think?
Yes, I believe that it definitely would make a big wall of difference, as it were. And it will also be a major booster in morale to even the military that are engaged in the war against insurgency in the country. Because one thing we must agree and come to terms with is that it is not a war you go with club and sticks. And you must also understand also that if we say that the insurgents are fortified with relatively modern weapons, that means that the government should be able to up its game far above what we assume the insurgents are having. And I think that this is a good one. It's actually a good decision. There's no decision as far as acquiring arms, ammunition is concerned that will be too much in the prosecution of security, especially in a country like Nigeria today, where you have all forms of security challenges in almost every part of the nook and cranny of the country. So to that extent, I think it makes a lot of professional sense. I would only crave the indulgence of those that would handle these machines. Permit me to use the word machines, as it were, to understand that these are not like a normal vehicle, normal aircraft. I'm sure that they also have engulfed a lot of millions of dollars from the government. So that means that whosoever is manning that should understand that at the back of his or her mind, that professionalism at the peak is what is expected. In
fact,
yeah.
At this point that you're mentioning, the Nigerian Air Force had earlier said that fighter pilots were actually in the U.S. By the way, it's an Embraer jet. It's a U.S. company, and so they've been in the U.S. Intensive training. So it looks like everything will be done to actually underline the point that you are making, even the authorities themselves.
But you see, I don't know how many of them have been in the training, but I will also expect a train-the-trainer program, not just those that have gone to the U.S. for training. Those that have gone through those trainings should come and multiply the knowledge. Because, you see, in this type of prosecution, you must understand that there are always perpetual 3-4 layers of backup. It's not just a 1 or 2 people training affair. I'm sure that the Air Force would have been able to anticipate and also settle that aspect of the whole thing. But I have to particularly crave the indulgence of the Air Force and the Ministry of Defense especially. If the Nigerian non-maintenance attitude comes into this thing At the end of the day, you may just be hearing there's no adequate fuel, it has not been maintained for some time, one knot is missing, and that is why it couldn't move, the electrical fault, we need to do this. You see, these are things that I think that the government should envisage from the word go. And sabotage is very important. You protect that aircraft the way you protect any armory, because when you are talking about war against insurgents, don't forget that there are moles, there are sympathizers and sleeper cells inside this military formation that are aware that you have procured this. Left to me as a person, if I had to have advised the military formation, I would have told them that they should not even announce the arrival of any of these aircraft at all.
Okay.
For me as a person, I don't think it was strategically good. I was expecting that it would be something that would just be launched.
Well, I didn't look up, but I suppose those were part of the profession.
Yeah, so I was expecting that it was something that was supposed to be launched clandestinely, quietly and all those stuff like that. You only use it when you need it. You protect it to the maximum, to the extent that it is only those that have the legitimate right to have access to it, to even come close to it, that should come close to it. If not so, what happened at the end of the day is that it may be sabotaged to the extent that it becomes, useless for use, even though you have acquired it, or it's not giving you the maximum result. So these are things that government need to look into. The Ministry of Defense need to look into it. We don't want situation within the last 3 months or thereabout to have about 3 or 4 Air Force plane crashing. And the mentality that comes to the mind of an average Nigerian is, are you sure any of these ones will not crash again?
Well,
So these are things that the Nigerian Air Force should work assiduously.
I can't wait to get Group Captain, Sadeeq Garba, Shehu on, because these machines, as you put them, these are fighter aircraft. They're light attack aircraft. And I think we saw a picture of them there. Low flying, you could see the terrain. They're probably going to be nimble. And you mentioned some points in there, and I wondered if the Nigerian Air Force and those who ordered this plane had not been thinking about that, because, as I said, it's a different kind of a fighter jet. It's a light attack aircraft. It's not the same as what the manufacturers refer to as, class 4, class 5 jets. In other words, maintenance, fuel consumption, because you talked about all of that. All of these are really way down there for ease of maintenance. So a lot of those things, it's like you and the Air Force are on the same page. It's like you're thinking together.
No, it's not.
Because I imagine
many a times the problem is not with the policy. The problem is with the implementation and the implementers of those policy. So that is why some of us, more or less, like we want to scream on top of our voice to make sure that those that are saboteurs or, are kept at bay from all these things.
You brought up the whole matter about the Air Force, has lost some planes in recent times.
Yes.
And in the last time, there was the shockingly embarrassing news to most of us that bandits, I mean, not fighters, not trained fighters, not bandits had brought down a Nigerian Air Force plane. That was embarrassing for a lot of people. But,
the problem is, you see, Uncle Yori,
but you got that thing on your shoulder,
Nigerian government has not started telling itself the truth. One of the senators yesterday in today's paper said that they should be addressed as terrorists and not bandits.
Yes.
You see, once a bandit is just a mere criminal. A criminal that is involved in thieves.
Especially, well, if we're going to be technical about it, when we talk about bandits, a robber, a thief, that sort of specializes the word attacking travelers.
Travelers
especially.
But when you are talking of, do you know what it means to bring down aircraft? This is no longer banditry. This is pure terrorism.
What is that something launcher, the RPG?
A rocket launcher.
That they put on their shoulder.
I mean
if these bandits could bring down a plane with that. But now I'm hoping that these A-29 Super Tucanos are much more nimble. I'm just guessing, because I think they chose...
No, but it also depends on Kuyori. You see, the manufacturer and you see, some of these things, I will go a little bit wider into maybe international aspect of terrorism.
Sure.
If the government is going to be sincere with itself, and the government is able to come to terms with the fact that there are participants, criminals outside the country, and there are countries that are supporting the act of Boko Haram, the act of all these bandits and banditry and the like, and they want to ask a question, to what extent and what capacity of weaponry and defense do these people have or have access to be able to, you know, curtail or fight the activities of this Tucano we are talking about? Do they have such propeller to be able to either bring it down or sabotage its effort and the like? Now the supporters, those countries that are supporting Boko Haram, those countries that are in support of the activities and the like, what is their capacity? Now that is where DSS comes in, to be able to advise the Air Force properly as a result of its intelligence. Once it's able to gather proper intelligence and it's able to, now you have psychological operation, you have brought in 6, everybody is aware that you now have this and all those stuff, but it does not make sense for you to tell them how many you are bringing in, what is the capacity of your military in terms of weaponry. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think it is something that is strategically good. But you can look at the efforts. Okay,
sorry. Good morning, Benga in Abuja. Thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you.
And good morning to your guests there.
Yes, Dr. Tony.
I disagree with him that it's not politically good for government to have announced the arrival of the Tucano Jets. We had it on many occasions. They say government spend money on weapons, billions of dollars, they know where it will disappear. The same people talking there will come on here and say, government, there's corruption everywhere, we don't know how they spend the money. Government is telling the populace, this money we took away, billions of dollars, we have used it to purchase this. Does not mean that bandits will now come and strike wherever they park it. I mean, what is suggesting is that they will not tell the bandits we are coming to attack you tomorrow. That is what's running. Every other information is not a set of security.
I hear you.
And I want to let you.
I hear you, Benga, I hear you. But how about the consideration of not letting the enemy know the size and content of your armory? Is that relevant?
Let me tell you something. It is not relevant to me. If my enemy knows that I have AK-47, does not mean that when I'm coming to meet him, I will tell him I'm coming. It's my planning to attack, my strategy out to attack now depends on how I use it.
Okay.
You know, that's what matters to me. And I want to let your guests also know that this equipment has been purchased. And the people who have to use it have been trained. So nobody will about to say tomorrow they find me, they go and just do it. No. This is a highly technical weapon. It's very scarce. It's not just, before we got this, we went through. We were denied of this thing for many years before we got it.
That's right.
So I know that the Air Force know what they are doing. And when they will strike, they know the time to strike. The good population that we have gotten this because our money was to purchase it. So that all those rumor of money being siphoned, money being stolen, we don't know where they are, this and this.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling in, Benga. No problem, a difference of opinion.
Uncle Yori, let me just quickly say that we are not on different page, except that maybe he didn't understand the context. I said something that if, for example, you are able to say you have brought in 6, there is no country in the world that will expose its military capability in terms of armory. There's what we call psychological operations. You don't tell your enemy the exact potential. Look, there was a time that the military said that they were going to gas the whole of Sambisa Forest, if you remember. And the next thing we heard was that the Boko Haram members already had purchased gas masks. Are you there with me?
Yes,
now, you see, I understand him, but maybe he didn't understand the angle through which we are coming. What I've just done basically is even advisory.
In fact, I think he's coming from the point of view of the right corruption. To know. The right to know, that is to say, it is the citizen. Everything is really for the Nigerian.
I agree. But you see, that argument, it's a good one. I agree with him. No problem about that. But if you now want to extend it in line of what he has also said, then we should be asking how much are these machines, this jet fighter, how much were they purchased?
Well,
I hope you understand that. But we're not going into all those. The main thing is that, for now, for the purpose of this presentation, You know,
we don't know how much each of those aircraft cost, but I imagine people might be able to know. But one thing one can deduce is that it's a light attack aircraft, and
that means it won't be more than 500,000 naira.
And in those circles, they talk about class 4, class 5 fighter aircrafts. So we can sort of work it out from there. I don't know. Good morning, sir. Mr. George in Ikeja.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
And greetings to Tony.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Uncle Yori, I agree with Tony's argument that publication is not the way to it. I'm not a military person, but something tells me that if you have enemies, they shouldn't know your strategy. I used to wonder why our military used to announce. Many times they will tell you they are now going to so place to carry out so operations. Before they get there, the enemies would have escaped from there or planned to defend themselves against them. I don't think that is a right strategy. If you have bought equipment, like we have bought now, it is not the equipment that Nigerians are concerned about. What they are concerned about is what have you done with that equipment? Has insecurity improved? It will show. And whatever the government explains they have done with the money, it will show, and people will believe them. It is not by parading the aircraft or telling the public how much it was bought, where we are going to use it, that will bring down the insecurity. What we are interested in is government taking care of it. How you go about it is a military thing.
So, Tony,
not everybody is entitled or needs to know what the military tactics are. Were you going to ask a question, Uncle Yori?
Because Benga in Abuja, his thought is that, look, it costs money. Yes, we don't know how much. And so you have to report back to the people what their, war dollars or whatever, the taxation that you've allocated there. That was his thinking, but you're saying, well, you hear that argument, but no, you're not buying into that. You think people should know, even though the enemy will also know a lot about what's going on just by listening to.
That's around accountability. I'm not saying there should be no accountability. After all, the military, don't they render accounts about the budget that is given to them?
Sure.
Whoever wants to know can see no. Exactly. That accounting system. But I'm talking about revealing military strategies. It does not give us good results from the war front. It helps the enemies more than we. That's the point I'm making.
Indeed, and thank you.
The public will still know if the military did not disclose their tactics.
Okay, then.
Why do I, as an ordinary man in the street, why do I need to know all the details about what that aircraft does, how it tackles the enemy, and where it is going to be deployed, and when it is going to be deployed? I don't need to know all those things. All I need to know is the enemies have been quashed. That's what I'm saying.
Indeed, indeed. All right, then. So thank you very much. And part of him saying he's on the same page with you, and your main, thrust was that, why did they even have to announce it? Why? I mean, another alternative is that they could have received this, but, even when you look at those things, look at them. Now I understand a bit better when they're talking about light attack aircraft. These things look very, very, look how low it's flying to the ground. These things look very maneuverable, and I imagine they're going to be a much more difficult target for enemies to lock on. Hopefully they don't have guided laser guiding sights. But here we are. Mazio Korafo in Arochukwu. Good morning, sir. 6 A-29 Super Tucanos arrive. Are you happy?
Good morning, I guess I see.
Good morning.
You see, we are not after the procurement axis of the thing. You see, we should be looking at one thing. Maybe congratulate our pilot, the young man that surveyed the station last 2 weeks. The pilot, the flying lieutenant. Congratulations, may God bless him and keep him and his family. We wish him more strength on that job. You see, the aircraft they brought down, the Nigerian Air Force intelligence to find out how come. Because to bring down an aircraft is not an easy thing. The person that brought down that aircraft was a trained personnel to do that job. Now, we have now purchased Tucano flying jet. In those days, not even in those days, that civil war, what was going on was fighter jet and bomber. But this around, they're using a different approach. But the question is this. If an aircraft is in motion and what we are seeing now, there is need for the personnel to do what? To do a proper job. So that as the fighter is going, the ground floor is going, and the thing is moving. But the question now is this. When the fighter goes, the ground floor is still shaking. That's the and issue of advertising, we have been seeing so many aircraft that have been showing on television during the Sadeeq regime and before. We have been seeing all this. But what we want an action. All this need for the military with their drone to trace down, like the last pilot, what he was doing. Let them continue. That's what we want. Because the area we put the bush into confusion, they will start leaving that bush.
Okay.
Now, if we allow them to continue,
okay.
Mr. Yori,
you still have some more?
ask yourself, what is happening in Nigeria? You see what's happening now in Cotonou? We normally bring in palm oil, beans from Cotonou, Gare, into Nigeria. There's no place that we bring in Turkey into Nigeria, except Cotonou. If Cotonou is to stop Nigeria from coming to that place, there's no Turkey from Lagos to any part of Nigeria. That is number one. But the question is this, we have to do exactly a proper job to make sure that the aircraft we have, that they should be on motion.
Okay.
They say we have people on ground that have been trained. They should start work. As another one is good, another one should be followed. Not only one, because Arabian there was another aircraft fighter following that vehicle or the bomber. The young man that shot that up, they could have crashed that person.
All right then.
It was only one man that went on the operation.
Okay, Mazi, I got to let go of you now. Thank you very much, Mazi. Appreciate your calling in. Really appreciate your calling in. And some of the concern that he showed about, the aircraft that was taken down, the other time. I don't know. He was making some recommendations. Yeah, we all heard the news. It was distressing. But then again, experts tell us it's available out there that look, the most vulnerable time of any aircraft, never mind a military aircraft, is on takeoff and landing. And you remember that that aircraft had just taken off from, in Kaduna. And so it was pretty much a very big dot in the sky for these people. But so that's why, I don't know, technology is what it is, and we can't connect yet with our group captain, Sunday Garba Shehu, retired, because I really wanted him to talk as the pro about this light attack aircraft and how it's different from your regular aircraft. It looks like Nigeria bought strategically on this, because even looking at those demonstration pictures, looking at things flying so close to the ground, and this whole matter about being able to operate in what the manufacturers refer to as permissive environments. I don't know if that means, in the absence of an expert commenting, I don't know if that means that, environments where there are also the things you don't want to hit.
Yes.
So is this like being able to fight surgically?
No, for me, I see the construction of the phrase permissive environment as an environment where most probably you don't have the innocent people becoming victims. Where you don't have innocent people becoming victims. Because if you look at the light fighter jet, it's such that it can even fly at a very low range, to the extent that it can come as low as possible compared to the one that will go so high. So it's and if you're talking of, for example, in an environment like Lagos State, you now see aircraft moving low as maybe the top of a building. Naturally, you get petrified. And those are, to me, are not non-permissible environments. But when you are talking of maybe forest areas, you are talking of creeks, you are talking of, most probably hideouts of criminals within the outskirts, the suburbs and the like, where it's easy to say, okay, even if you fire a shot and the like, you are most likely targeting your target, so to say. That's my own understanding of the phrase permissive environment, and I think it makes a lot of professional sense.
And it's well to remember that these light attack aircraft are joining the other aircraft in the on the hangars of the Nigerian Air Force. I imagine they probably will have fighter aircraft. These ones are light attack aircraft. They have helicopter gunships, as you know. So we have all these things. So it's like government is bringing all sorts of tools, very much like when you go to, what is it, your dentist? The man will just line up all sorts of tools, terrifying you there, and he's also checking out the drill. I'm just looking at this analogy. Kesandu, good morning, sir.
Uncle, I greet you, sir. Good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
Dr. Tony, God bless you for a wonderful analysis. You see, the true position about this thing is that we're not saying you should not be accountable. You understand? And when the Nigerian government starts being accountable to the people, but what we're saying is there is time for everything. At this material time, we expose ourselves to these people. For someone to bring down an Alpha jet simply means he understands that an Alpha jet cannot be brought down with AK-47. So they actually budgeted for it. They actually knew we were coming with it. They actually knew we have it. So they have what it takes to bring it down. Now, if we are making them understand that we have this, we have purchased this, you see, it is just a clear indication of, as Eleke the bird has learned to fly without touching, the hunters will shoot without aiming and missing. So it is just for our military to purchase this thing, keep it, choose it, and get us results. There is a time, like annually, you give report of what you actually used our money for. And it can be made public for, okay, at so point in July, we actually purchased this, okay, fine, at so amount. But not that you bought it today, tomorrow it becomes news. Every purchase of the newspaper will have it. No, it will make this man to go back home and sit and, okay, try to talk about it. You see, another thing is, I think the federal government has a huge responsibility on their hands to do. First, we should be serious with this business of fighting insurgency and insecurity in this country. First is, we must stop this issue of nicknaming these people bandits. They are pure terrorists and we must treat them as such. Secondly, where do these people get this ammunition and how do they bring it into this country? Because for somebody to have a particular gun that brings out an Alpha jet, it's not just AK-47, it's not pump action. It is no longer a banditry issue. Someone somewhere is highly sophisticated and is fighting Nigeria. So I think the federal government, DSS should wake up to their responsibility. There are a whole lot of things DSS should be doing in this country to give us results. How are these people bringing these things into this country? Who is actually funding this person?
Okay, Kesandu.
This insecurity problem.
I really appreciate your calling in. Kesandu, thank you very much. Really appreciate you calling in. Thank you very much for contributing on the matter. And we're now able to speak with Group Captain Sadeeq Garba Shehu, retired, a private security consultant, but used to be, he was the deputy head of security at the African Union Commission in Ethiopia. Good morning, Group Captain.
Ayuri.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, there's people. I imagine people are going to be pleased. Are going to be happy. We're talking about the A-29 Super Tucano aircraft, light attack aircraft that have arrived. First of all, just clear up something for us, because on the manufacturer's website, they talk about them being specially developed for fighting in permissive environments, including insurgencies, unquote. So what is a permissive environment, Group Captain?
Thank you very much. I'm happy you are starting with what is displayed on the website of the manufacturers. Because I've been listening to the debate ongoing since you started talking about some people thinking whether it is even a good idea for Nigeria to say it has bought the aircraft, or whether the capabilities of the aircraft should be known. Let me start from there by saying that there is no weaponry in the world now in which the manufacturer has not told the world what the armament can do or what it cannot do. That is one. For the simple economic reasons, arms are made principally for economic reasons. So when somebody has a good product, he wants to advertise it. And apart from advertising it again, I want to tell viewers that in the current modern arms market in the world, there is no country that will buy any equipment in secrecy, unless if it is a terrorist organization or illegal organization. But a country, there is no country, even the US, being manufacturers of their own aircraft, or any other weapon, whenever they are acquiring something for the armed forces, is something for general debate. There are advantages for this. Arms procurement all over the world is full of corruption, whether we like it or not, that is the truth. And the people that pay for arms procurement are the citizens of any country. In purchasing these arms, members of the legislature, members of the executive are supposed to interrogate what is the country buying. So I want people to know that there is nothing wrong and there's nothing abnormal in saying country. What might be secret are details, operational details of saying aircraft A is taking off from point A at so time, it is going to point B. Or we are putting so aircraft in so town and so place. These are operational details which should not be divulged. But the general aspect about discussing on what a country has, what is the performance of that aircraft, really they are not details that are classified. You can find them in Joint Defense Weekly, you can find them in Military Balance, you can find them in SIPRI publication. Every country, there is the Global Firepower Index.
Okay.
Every year, what
Sure.
the country buys is indicated in that listing. Having said that, you asked me specifically about permissive.
Yes, the manufacturers say the craft was developed especially to fight in permissive environments. So you were going to tell us what a permissive environment is. And I think it froze right there. But as soon as you come back in, let me quickly take Reverend Dominic. Good morning, Reverend. Reverend Dominic, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Yori. Good morning, Tony.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Tony, let me say this with all sincerity. Do you think, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, Dr. Tony,
yes, sir.
In all honesty, you know, this discussion it takes me and I weep in my heart here. In all honesty, if you want to fight these people with cop bandits or the armed robbers or the Boko Haram, do we need Tucano aircraft? Do we need fighter jets? Senator Shehu said the other day, to two names that terrorize Kaduna, the two major names that terrorize Kaduna, they know them by their name. Their unofficial spokesman, the cleric, Shehu Gumi, have told us where these people are. 2 days ago, we went to hand over 50 million naira to them. They released about 18 students. Why are we doing all this to ourselves? Could we say this gospel truth? There is no crime in Nigeria except state-induced crime. Because if we want to fight these people, a man that comes with Okada bike to fight you, you have Hitler's vine, you have AK-47, you have armory, and you cannot defeat a man with a bike, and you're going to America to buy Tucano to defeat him. It's insult to us. If the elders of the North want to end insurgency, they will end it today. It's a business, buy and sell. The more we are giving them money, 2 days ago they kidnapped a monarch in the same Kaduna, demanding 100 million. Why they took 50 million yesterday? What an insult, Tony. What an insult.
Okay, Reverend. Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic. Reverend, I thank you very much for calling in. And we've got to take a break now. But stay with us, please. We'll continue and we'll connect back with the group captain, who was just about to tell us what military people know as a permissive environment, because I'm interested in that, especially how it relates to other aircraft in the arsenal of the Nigerian Air Force. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back, and we're with Group Captain Sadeeq Garba Shehu. Okay, there you go. You were just about to go into, having given a sort of a background, you're now going to go into what is meant in military parlance as a permissive environment in which this Tucano aircraft has been specially been designed for.
Well, when talking about aircraft, when you say an aircraft will operate in a permissive environment is an environment where the threat of anti-aircraft is very low, where the threat to shoot down the aircraft is very low. That's what is meant by permissive environment.
Okay, where the threat of downing the aircraft is very low. That exactly. Is what is meant as a permissive environment. Now, how does this... Okay, so, since this is the latest addition to the assets of the Nigerian Air Force, it's not the only plane. These 6 of the 12 Tucano, 12 units of the Embraer A-29 Super Tucano aircraft. Can you sort of put it in perspective for us? There are other kind of aircraft. Even on the website of the manufacturers, they talk about it being different from a Class 4, Class 5 kind of a fighter jet. So how does this figure in our arsenal in Nigeria here?
Well, not only in Nigeria, the world over, since the advent of insurgency and counterinsurgency and terrorism, air forces or military leaders all over the world realize that the aircraft they had before are not specifically suited for the combat that is a kind of counterinsurgency warfare. So they started looking for an aircraft that has certain characteristics, which is only those characteristics that will fit the environment. And what are those characteristics? They are not looking for an aircraft that is too fast, like F-15 or F-16. They are looking for an aircraft that the engine is turboprop. The difference between turboprop, again, the correction here, please. The Tucano is not a jet aircraft, it's a turboprop aircraft. That is, it's a turbo engine that drives a propeller that moves the aircraft. In general, jet aircraft, they like operating very high and they're generally too fast.
Okay.
But a turboprop engine is an aircraft that will fly relatively slow and also relatively low. So that is the aircraft.
And they call it a light. They call it a light attack aircraft.
Light attack aircraft. That is it. They were also looking for an aircraft that has short takeoff run. It will just move a little and then it will go up. They are also looking for an aircraft that can take off from even unprepared a rough terrain. If you just level the ground, the Tucano can take off from there. As opposed to jet aircraft, it needs a very clean, runway and everything. So this is what they were looking for. And around 2009, Americans started looking for that aircraft. Because like we said, there are different kind of aircraft that will do something for you. In the Cold War, it used to be aircraft going on and fighting air-to-air battle. So we are looking for air superiority aircraft. We are not looking for that kind of battle here. Because the insurgents or the bandits we are looking for do not have an aircraft. You want an aircraft that can shoot from the air to the ground with some precision. So after many competitions, the Tucano, what some of us are excited about it, is that aircraft that were tested. It entered into competition with 7 other aircraft to find the aircraft that is best suited, and eventually it was Tucano that was selected. This was long before even Nigeria indicated interest in the Tucano. So you see the aircraft, like you said, you read on the website, is specifically designed for counter-insurgency and other irregular warfare like bandits. You can use it even for anti-drug, anti-smuggling. It has other uses. So this is what makes this aircraft, special in the kind of problem we have in Nigeria.
Okay, stay with us, Captain. I got to take this call from Omotayo in Malaysia. Good morning, Omotayo.
Yeah. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
In the studio.
Sure.
Yeah. Let me just contribute my own issue into this program. You see the problem we have in Nigeria. I had the conversation with one caller now. He said we don't need aircraft to handle this kind of situation in Nigeria. But we forgot that we lack this kind of ability to tap this one when this insurgency project started in Nigeria. We see where we have today. And now we blame that we don't need this kind of super Tucano to handle this kind of things. What if any other thing happens tomorrow? Where are we going to get this kind of instruments to tackle the insecurity in Nigeria? We have problems, much problems, and many of us we are in debt settlement in the problem of in the affairs of the Nigeria situation, and this is where we land up to. So my own thinking is that there's no any step that the government takes now that is not necessary. What they will need to do is just to make sure that they handle these things at once and everything can be settled. And I agree with the guest in the studio, Mr. Tony, that he said that our partner, our security partners should not allow they should not be announced anything before they can do any attack to their enemies. And in time of the accountability, it is good that the government tell us how the thing is coming, and everybody are aware that yes, government is trying in their own best to tackle the security.
Okay. All right then. Thank you very much. Now, Group Captain, let me come back to you because before you came on, we were talking in studio about the Nigerian Air Force losing that fighter jet to bandits, as they preferred to call it when the statement was released, that bandits had brought down a Nigerian Air Force jet, even though, thank God, the pilot ejected and is safe. We had commented at that time that, just looking at documentaries, we are told that the most vulnerable time of an aircraft is on takeoff and landing. And as it was reported, that incident happened shortly after the takeoff of that aircraft from Kaduna. Is that something? Is these Super Tucanos, being what they are, light attack aircraft? You've just told us being able to fly low. Are they better than perhaps the bigger aircraft that met that unfortunate fate? And in terms of the safety from terrorists taking aim at our aircraft?
Yes, still I come back to tell you again, like you read of yourself, that the Tucano was specifically designed for counterinsurgency. Now, the manufacturers, in knowing that the aircraft will fly very low, they put additional safeguards for the aircraft. And what are those safeguards? For the pilot, the cockpit of the Super Tucano is protected by a Kevlar armor. Kevlar armor that covers both the cockpit to protect the cockpit and also to protect the pilot. That is one.
Yes, it's bulletproof.
That is, you can call it bulletproof. It's Kevlar armor that covers the cockpit of the Tucano. In addition, because you see, first it's good to understand why an aircraft for counterinsurgency has to fly low. It has to fly low because that's what gives the pilot the ability to positively identify targets on the ground. Targets on the ground in counterinsurgency or banditry are mingled between civilians and other people that have nothing to do with the, with the insurgency. So the pilot needs to be sure that when he drops his weapon, he's dropping on targets. The lower he is, the more he has that eye contact with the ground, despite any equipment you carry on the ground. There are times that you need the human contact. The human eye contact to know what you are hitting.
Okay.
The aircraft has to be slow, also because that gives you time to hover over an area and actually see what is on the ground. So with that in mind, they put protection for the pilots, they put protection for the engine, and in addition, this is what the Super Tucano is giving. It has standoff capability. That means it doesn't have to come directly overhead the target, where even the man, if he has a RPG or something,
yes.
In fact, the Super Tucano's armament, they have armaments that they can fire from 8 to 11 kilometers.
Oh, right. Okay. One moment, sir. Let me, Tunde Inikeja wants to ask a question. Let me bring in Tunde Inikeja. Good morning, Tunde. Oh, dear. Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
My own concern is this. We can buy Super Tucano. We can buy Super Tucano. We can buy. What I'm saying is this. What of the attitude of the presidency? What is the mindset? Saboteur within the system. Because we have many people who are benefiting from this problem we have on ground. And there are people who purchase equipment. What is their own interest? People in the system, do they want this war to end?
Okay.
Politically,
I get what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tunde, for calling in. Tony, would you like to take a snap at that concern? Because this has dragged on forever through the decades. There are those who have said that, look, there's more to this than meets the eye. Some people are profiting from this situation, and that's the context in which Tunde brings this question upon the arrival of these 6 Tucano jets. Do you think it is a genuine concern?
It is, to be very absolute, it is. If you remember, I also talked about saboteurs and all the stuff like that. And even like the retired Air Force officer, group captain said, you discover that armed purchase all over the world is laden with its own corruption. It's not just a Nigerian affair.
No, exactly.
But having said so, look at what the rhetorical question, although he mentioned my name, but I saw it as a rhetorical question as to do we really need all this? It's happening that we are procuring equipment to fight ourselves. That is this. To say the least, when Nigerians begin to procure equipment to fight itself, not external aggression, that is the painful part of it.
Group Captain, what would you say to that? That's sentiment. The sentiment is not now more than one. That do we really need this? Give me your professional assessment. Do we really need the likes of the A-29 Super Tucano aircrafts?
Is that we have not been equipping our military year in, year out. Even the World Bank and IMF, because of that concept that everything depends on security, advises countries all over the world, year in, year out, to spend a specific amount on their budget. We are having problems now because we have problems with military equipment that has not since 1999. That is the reality of the situation. So for anybody who believes...
I beg your pardon, Captain. The audio is poor. So I'm going to use that time to quickly pick up Richard, I believe. Is Richard waiting to join the program?
Yes.
Yes. Good morning, Richard. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Hello. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dr. Tony.
Thank you.
So, very quickly, you know, some time ago, you will recall that you will find on the signboard or in front of some people's houses, beware of dogs, right? Now, what usually happens, what now happened is criminals now found a way to, you know, when they want to operate, they put poison into maybe meat or something and throw it into that compound. Maybe if the dog will eat and then slip off or die. So it gives them a leeway, you know, to have their operation easily. So that's exactly the same thing. Now, I don't know if today you can find something like, I haven't seen that in a long time, where you see beware of dog in people's house. They started removing those signs. If you want to operate, come in, then whatever you see, you take.
Okay.
So that is exactly the same thing with what's happening with military.
I get you.
Now, coming to announce that you have this aircraft and that aircraft and all that, you are simply telling them, look, I have this, beware of this. You are already telling them to beware, and I'm sure this aircraft probably
have
Richard, their own vulnerabilities as well.
I want to thank you, Richard, for calling in, because what you've done is to identify on the side of those who are saying it was unnecessary to make this elaborate announcement and talk about induction and generally publicize that. I hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much for calling in. Sorry that I had to sort of come in there because we're running short on time. And I wanted to try the group captain one more time because you were on the question when the audio failed us as to whether, in your opinion, we actually need this kind of light attack aircraft in terms of what we need to do with it, which is fighting permissive environments, including insurgencies.
Yeah, we actually need it because based on an insurgency and other irregular warfare, we never had an aircraft that is specifically fitted for those threats. So definitely we need it. Even apart from that, our major problem in the country now is that we are having security challenges, and it is at that time we are also acquiring and training our troops. It shouldn't be so. We wouldn't have been in this mess as much as possible if we have been equipping our armed forces, if we have been recruiting before the rain starts falling. It is now that the rain starts falling and we are looking for umbrella. So every country continues to sharpen its war machine before the war arrives.
Yes.
Our problem is complicated now because we have an army that is not well equipped. We have an air force that is not well equipped. We have a navy that is not well equipped. We have a police that is not up to the task, and it is at the same time when we are trying to raise their capacity that we are also fighting this this conflict.
Okay.
So,
thank you, Group Captain.
That,
Group Captain, I got to interrupt you. I beg your
need.
pardon. I got to interrupt you, but thank you very much. You're making the point right there that it is in peacetime that you prepare for war. That's the point you're making. We didn't. Now the war has happened. The rain has started, so to speak, and now we're looking around for umbrellas. Good morning, Ada in Jos.
Good morning to Dr. Tony.
Good morning.
I agree with Dr. Tony. I agree with him. This noise, this show about this aircraft, Tucano, whatever, I'm so uncomfortable. Since 2 months ago, they have been announcing it. It's going to arrive in July, this and that. Let me tell you something. What they should do now is to re-strategize. That is, let them have a coordinated attack on the northeast and the northwest simultaneously. I don't know if the announcement they are making, are they making it for them to leave the forest? I don't know. I begin to wonder whether they are really serious in getting at these people, because most people know where they are. You know that if what I read in the media is anything to go by, Alpha jet that was gone down. You know that village paid for it, Mr. Yori. You know that they paid for it.
I can imagine.
They had to go back. The terrorists, I don't call them bandits. The terrorists went back there and killed them and told Nigerians that they killed them because they hit the pilot. They said they hit that pilot. They were looking for that pilot to kill him. So they went back to that village and dealt with them. How will another set of villagers want to help out?
I hear your concern, Ada. I really appreciate your calling in. Thank you very much. In fact, Ada is going to have to be our last caller. So really, I don't have much more time now. I'd like to have done it a bit more elaborately, but to thank Group Captain Sadeeq Garba, Shehu, retired private security defense consultant now. Thank you very much for bringing, shedding light on some of those professional questions. We really appreciate your analysis always. Group Captain retired Garba Shehu is the former deputy head of security at the African Commission in Ethiopia. And Tony, thank you very much, Dr. Tony Nwobodo, security analyst for us, and as well as being a lawyer. He's DG International Institute of Professional Security.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure. That's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.